Good afternoon, it's Melanie Moore here and welcome to Big Vision TV. Now, Big Vision TV started earlier last year and it came about because I've always had this vision to have my own TV show. I did a journalism degree at university many years ago, and I always had this vision that one day I'd have my own talk show with inspirational guests. And life happened. I went down a completely different career path, and we're talking 20 years ago now. And what I want to share with people, I guess the reason for doing this show, it's called Big Vision TV, is that I believe that we all have a big vision, things that we want to accomplish, things that we want to do, things that we want to be, things that we want to create in the world. And my vision for this show is pretty big. It's still in its early days. I'm still playing around with some new technology right now, and we have glitches every so often, but we're not going to have any today. And my vision is that every week I bring to you an inspirational guest, somebody who has done something amazing, somebody who has overcome challenges and obstacles, or perhaps they've got tools or gifts that can help you move towards your big vision. And today's guest is an amazing lady, very inspirational. I first met her at a networking event probably a couple of years ago now, and we both live in Hertfordshire in the UK. And this is a little interesting fact, we both share the same birthday. And of all my friends on Facebook, there's not many people I come across who share the same birthday as me, so obviously she's a very special woman. So I'm not going to delay any longer. Let's bring her up here. You can already see what her name is. The title is on the show already. Right, sorry, excuse me while I just play around with some buttons. Here we go. Hi Jenny, welcome to the show.
Hi Mel, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I just want to do a quick check that people can see and hear us okay. If you are watching, I would love to know, can you just give us a quick thumbs up, let us know if you can see us okay. Sorry, I've completely lost my thread now. So Jenny, tell us a little bit about yourself. How I've described you in the introduction is that you're a award-winning author. You have a deck of angel cards, which I have here, which we are going to play with in a minute. You've written a play, you've written children's books, adult books, but I've said it all now. So let's kind of go back to the beginning a bit. Let's start with the other bit that I mentioned in the title of this broadcast. You said that you were rubbish at school. Now, these are your own words. I bet you weren't, but let's go back to them.
I was a very naughty girl, actually. I didn't go to
naughty.
School very much.
Okay, tell us some stories. And what did the teachers say about this? Did they have anything to say about it?
Well, put it this way, when my school reports used to come home, it used to be unable to remark on Jenny's progress as she's never been here. So, no, I was very bad at school. Yeah, I used to go in one gate and straight out the other.
What did you do instead?
Hang out with friends and things, I'll tell you, it really is not something I'm proud of. It really isn't. But it's what it was at the time.
But, everything happens in the way it does. And
I know.
And, when I love to study successful people, and not everybody has a perfect education. In fact, lots of billionaire entrepreneurs, didn't really finish school. So that, there we go. That goes against the whole myth of you must go to school to get a good job and to do all that. So
exactly, yeah. And no one was more surprised than me when I started writing, honestly.
So we'll come to that in a bit, but so that's one obstacle that I think, let's just put that one to bed, that sometimes, if we want to do something, we want to write a book, or we want to create something, we want to accomplish something, we feel that we have to have gone to university or done a degree, or that we have had to got all the qualifications, and that just mental limitation or that belief holds a lot of us back from doing anything because we don't feel as if we're good enough. So how did you get started?
What, with the writing?
Yeah.
Well, obviously writing was not my background, obviously. I was a beauty therapist for many years. I had a very successful business. I was a mobile therapist, so I was out and about a lot. And then in 2010, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which meant I had to give up my business for health and safety reasons. I had to give up my business, which was really soul destroying. And it took me to a dark place for a while, depression and everything.
Because a diagnosis like that, obviously coming out the blue, must be pretty devastating.
Oh gosh, it was absolutely devastating. I mean, it turned my world upside down because all the things, I was the one that was always looking after everybody and doing things for everybody, and then the tables turned. It was, people had to start looking after me for a bit, and I wasn't used to that. So yeah, I wasn't very happy about that. But I couldn't even take my own children to school because I couldn't drive at the time, and it was just, it wasn't the best time, but I came through it.
Well, let's talk about that for a bit, because I've kind of shared some of my beliefs around disease and illness, and obviously I'm not a doctor, and I think sometimes when you hear a diagnosis like that, you go on Google, you listen to what your doctor says, and you kind of think it takes you to a very dark place because you see what the future is. But I know you do have some kind of challenges, but on the whole, you look pretty fit and healthy. You look quite well.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all the makeup. No, I'm not. I've not done too bad. I've actually come a really long way from when I was first diagnosed. Obviously, a lot of that was psychological as well.
Yeah.
Because once your world is turned upside down, it's really difficult to turn it back round again. So I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't a good time. But as I say, I did come through it.
Yeah. What would you say helped you in particular? Because as we were talking, and Jenny's actually one of my clients as well, and I'm delighted to support her in her business and her journey. She's a member of my Vision Alignment group, so I've got to know Jenny quite well over this year. On a personal level as well. And one of the things I asked Jenny was, when did kind of the spiritual awakening happen to her? Because obviously, if you're a creator of angel cards, you're going to be a pretty spiritual person. So tell me a little bit about your spiritual journey as well, because this kind of came hand in hand with the MS diagnosis, didn't it?
It did, yeah. I suppose years ago I had a bit of a faith. I went to church, but, not regularly or anything like that. And then, I had my daughter, and, she was sadly taken from me when she was 7.5 months old. And then
How long ago was that?
Oh, that was about 28 years ago now. But I totally, my faith just completely went.
Not surprisingly.
I thought, and it took us a long time to have her in the first place. We had to some intervention, and so it was. I was very angry, and so you sort of giving me this beautiful child just to take her away just as quickly, So I was very angry, and I suppose as time went on, I wouldn't say I got my faith back, not by any means, but it was when I was diagnosed with the MS, and I was introduced to meditation.
Yeah.
And that is what really completely turned my life around, was by doing the meditation, because it got me I started to focus again, and it sort of got me in a better place as well.
Brilliant. Meditation has become more and more part of my life, and I encourage everyone to do some form of meditation. There are so many different types of meditation, and I think a lot of people are put off by it, because you kind of think you've got to
Yeah.
sit under a tree, wear tie-dye clothing, eat lentils and chant all day long. You know, people have some weird connotations about what meditation is. There's so many different types and I don't stick to one particular practice, because otherwise I'd get bored. But, you know, tell us about the meditation practice that you discovered.
Well, mine's all well, this is when I started to connect with my angels. And before then, I was very skeptical about meditation, I must say. I really was. Because I was led to believe that, you know, it opens you up to not good things, which is completely wrong. But I started to do the meditation, and then I just found this at the time I felt a strange connection with something. It was just really weird and strange. And then I realised it was my angels. They were coming in, connecting with me, and that's when my writing sort of like started. You know, it was, I just kept getting words coming to me all the time. It's like, you know, when you hear a song and it plays around and around in your head and you can't, it just won't go. But this is exactly what happened with me with these words. It wouldn't leave me alone until I wrote them down. And I thought, okay, wrote down. I still didn't know what they were. But then more kept coming and more kept coming and more kept coming. So I had to write them all down, and eventually I realised that they were all actually words of prayer. And it was a real shock, a surprise to me, because obviously, you know, I didn't really go to church or anything. I didn't really pray at that time. So I knew it wasn't coming from me. I knew it was coming from the divine. And then I found that they were all words of prayer. And I put them into a book. I was guided to put them into a book. And that started...
I have this book, it sits on my bedside.
Yeah, and that started off my writing career. I thought that was the one and only book that I was going to write, and I was happy with that. But they had other ideas, and I've wrote several since. So.
Well, because I think what meditation does, it does open you up to connection with spirit. And the word inspiration, it has its roots from being within spirit. So when you are in spirit, when spirit comes through you, this is when our creativity flows. This is when, you know, we talk about channeling. And again, people may have their own ideas of what channeling is, but songwriters channel, all artists, all, you know, when we are inspired, we are in spirit. So we are literally channeling something out there to help us to create beautiful things in the world. And the other thing I just suddenly thought was, you know, that I've often heard as prayer being like asking for what you want, but meditation being the listening process.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I wasn't doing a lot of listening before then. But yeah, so I did. Once I started listening, that's when all the inspiration came and all the channeling came to write the books.
So tell us about the next book and how the writing developed from there.
Well, after the first book, the prayer book, a collection of inspirational guided prayers, the next book I wrote was called Prisoner Within. It was my first fiction book. Now, when I write, I always get a title before I even know what the story or book's going to be about. I always get a title. And all I kept getting was this word prisoner, prisoner, prisoner. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to go into a prison or something and start interviewing prisoners. And I was a little bit not quite sure about that one. But then it came to me that, no, it was about how we imprison ourselves up in our mind, you know. So that's how that book came along. And, and it was nominated for a prestigious global award last year, which I was very proud of.
Amazing.
And also I adapted a play adapted from that book as well. So
I don't think that
book. As I was hoping one day someone would put it on the stage as a full play for me. So,
well, I don't think we need to do any hoping there, Jenny. I think the seeds have been sown, and I don't know. We've talked about the vision for not just that book, but your other books. That Yeah, that book is it's only just a beginning.
Yeah. I am very proud. I call that my baby, that book, and next year a short film is actually going to be made of that as well. So I'm very excited about that.
Brilliant. Oh, that's so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've written amazing children's books as well, which have also won you awards. So you're so like multi-genred as well as multi-talented.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me about the children's books.
The children's book. Well, I had no intentions whatsoever to do children's books. I really didn't, and it only came about. A family member passed away quite suddenly, and it was, I don't know, I just got this vision, I guess, of writing this children's book. And I didn't have a clue how to write children's books. But it was something that I always believed it was a message from above. When she passed away, I honestly believe that she sort of sent it all down to me. So the book's in memory of her, actually. So that was my first children's book. I thought I needed to do something, something that quite sad had happened. So I wanted to do something quite positive to to sort of bring a bit more light into the family. And that's how I wrote the first book, which is Tilly and the Magical Mermaid. And then after that, I wrote another one, Joshua and the Magical Unicorn. And then I did a dyslexia-friendly version of both of those as well. And Joshua and the Magical Unicorn, the dyslexia one, I've just won a gold award for that book.
That's amazing. So deserved. Yeah. Amazing.
Thank you.
And then let's talk about that angel card. So I've got to take it. In fact, in a minute, let's pull one for the viewers. We'll do a group message for the day. So, gosh, that's the thing. Actually, before we talk about the angel cards, I just want to acknowledge how there are so many of us. We want to write a book, or we want to maybe, create an angel card deck, or it doesn't even have to be a book. That there's something that you've always wanted to do, and you were faced with this big kind of health obstacle. And here's the thing, I think so many of us, we give ourselves so many excuses as to why we can't do things. It could be disability, it could be lack of funds, it could be, I haven't got the education, or I didn't do well at school, or, so many excuses that we that stand in the way of us doing the things that we've always wanted to do. How did you overcome those? Was it just a case of I'm just going to do it?
Well, it was a matter of just doing it. I truly believe that my MS is a gift. Is a gift to me. So to help and give hope to other people that whatever life throws at you. We can get through it. Just believe in yourself and have faith in yourself. And then, the world's your oyster, really. So I believe I've been very blessed, even though it sounds a bit strange to some people. They say, well, why do you feel blessed to have, what you've got? But it is a blessing, because if it wasn't for my MS, I certainly would not be sitting here now talking to you.
Yeah, so, I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't agree more. And that's the thing, I do believe that we are given tests and we're given challenges in our life. And I kind of seem to attract women who have overcome incredible things, but they've got this kind of almost like this, not just a vision, but also a mission that they want to be some kind of change maker in the world. And the fact of the matter is that the most inspirational people who walk the planet, some of the people who I admire, the books that have really helped me, people like Dr. Wayne Dyer, Oprah, overcome huge adversities in their lives. I think if you're living a charmed, fabulous life, it's quite hard to kind of use those experiences to kind of help others. However, when you've been through the mess yourself, you are way more qualified to help others to overcome those challenges. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do. I definitely agree. And I think also it comes from a very different place. When you've been faced with challenges and things, the things that you do come from a very different place. Like with my writing, that is very, very much heart centered. So I don't really think too much on a conscious level, because I think that's where our blocks come, is when we think too much about it. So
I think thinking is overthinking is a major obstacle that stops a lot of us from doing lots of things.
Absolutely, it certainly is. Yeah. So when I write, it is all sort of like divinely guided, and it comes from one place and one place only, and that's from my heart center.
That's beautiful.
And I couldn't write any other way, because it just wouldn't come across right.
So what's next for you, Jenny? Gosh, you've accomplished so much, and I do feel like this is still just the beginning for you. What's next? What's next for you?
Well, I'm actually going to be doing an online program, helping people to overcome their fears with their writing. So it's a 9-step program. And it's through angelic guidance. I'll be teaching the way that I've been guided to write, which is coming from the heart center. You have to start with the heart center. If you're not at the heart center, it's not going to work. Well, I'm saying it's not going to work. It will work, but in a different way.
Yeah.
So that's my intention, is to help other people with their writing. If it's a book, a blog, an article, or just a bit of journaling, something they want to do for themselves. I would just show the way that I've been guided to do it.
That's amazing, and I'm taking part.
Yeah.
I'm writing a book, and the thing is, I've just had to be really quite gentle with myself. As we were saying before we went live, I think books are a bit like babies. They come along when they're ready. You can't force them. No. They're going to be birthed in their own time. But I think we could all do with a little bit of help with unlocking that creativity and the flow.
Yeah, there's no wrong way and there's no right way to write. There's only your way.
Yeah.
And it's from wherever you choose that writing to come from. I always believe from one place in the heart is the better place. But that's just my way of writing. I'm not saying that's how everybody writes or should write. That's the way I write, and that's the way I want to teach people.
Yeah. So what advice would you have right now for anyone going through tough times, going through challenges? Actually, let's before we even talk about goals or vision or anything like that, just let's you've talked about losing your baby. Oh my gosh, that is just incomprehensible. Then also getting a diagnosis like MS as well. That there are people out there going through some really tough times right now. People who are being faced with all kinds of challenges. We're not even talking about a vision right now. What's your kind of advice for people just struggling to get through the day?
Yeah. All I can say really is just to believe in yourself, have faith and believe in yourself that you can do these things. It really isn't the end of the world when you sort of like have these challenges, even though it does feel like it. And trust me, I do know that because I was there. I was in that horrible place, but I found my way of getting through that and refocusing. And I believe that anybody can do that if they want it, and it is easy to say, but I've been there, I've done it, so I do know that it can happen. If it happened to me, goodness me, look at me, my educational background and everything, my teachers, oh God knows what my teachers must be thinking right now, but I never thought I would ever be writing books or becoming an author. But it happened to me. So if it happened to me, it can happen to you.
I love it. And then even here's the thing, because I think when you then have an idea of, I'd like to write a book, that's kind of just one thing, but then it's the things like, okay, right, I need to get a publisher now, or maybe I need to go about getting self-published. Did you find that what I found in the past, when I've been in similar positions, that once I've made a decision, this is what I want to do, the door's open for me. Did you find that was the case for you as well?
Yes and no. I mean, I to be honest with you, I really didn't know which road that I was going down with it, because it's all completely new to me. I mean, sort of like everything's been sort of self-taught, if you like.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a clue. So it was just a matter of just researching. I've done a lot of research and found publishers that I went with. I was with them for a few years, but now I've got a completely different publisher now. So, I mean, just research. Do your research. Don't just go for the first person that you see on the internet. Research and see what you come up with. But do it. Don't sit there and think, finding excuses basically not to. Because once you do it, once you get that book in your hands, that first published book, it's an amazing feeling.
I can imagine.
It really is. Melanie Moore, you do that.
It's coming. So that's brilliant. Now, with this course that you've got coming up, I know it's still kind of in its kind of early stages at the moment, but what's the best way to kind of find out more about it?
Well, people can actually sort of email me. Emailing me is probably the best point to find out more at the moment, which is info@jennyfordauthor.com.
Okay. Can you pop that in the comments after this broadcast? Okay.
I will do, yeah. But for any of my books or my cards, my website, again, jennyfordauthor.com. You can go on there.
So so Jenny explained earlier that they are available on Amazon. However, some of them are a little bit older editions. So if you want those up to date, the newest ones, go to Jenny's website, jennyfordauthor.com.
That's correct, yeah.
And again, we'll put the links to the links up in the comments at the end of this broadcast.
Yeah.
And obviously you can also get Jenny's angel card deck as well, which I love. This comes in a lovely pouch, but it also comes with your own crystals as well, which I think adds extra energy to the cards. I have tiger's eye. There you go. For mine.
There you go.
So those of you who've been following me for a while know that I love to pull an angel card or two. So I'm going to, so this is for anybody watching right now. Or actually, do you have a deck to hand? Do you want to pull a card?
I haven't got them right next to me. No.
Oh, okay. Okay. I've got them, so I'll do it then. So this is Jenny's gorgeous angel card deck. It's cards for guidance, which, I pull myself a card nearly every day. So so this is a card for guidance for anybody watching right now, whether you're watching live or watching on the replay. Let's see what comes up. Oh, here we go. Okay. I think, angels, you're very clever. Okay, right. Is fear standing in the way of following your dreams? Then hand the fear over to God and the angels. They just want you to achieve your dreams and are ready to help you, so call upon them now.
What a superb card to come out.
No coincidences there. So, this is what this show is all about. This is what my work is all about, to help people to, to just bust through those blocks and those limiting beliefs and all the fear, that's the thing. That's what this card says, is fear standing in the way of following your dreams. Then hand the fear over to God and the angels. They want you to achieve your dreams and are ready to help you now, so call upon them. Ready to help you, so call upon them now. So, what are the fears? That I know what they are, but let's talk about some of these fears that stand in the way. Come on, let's start reeling them out.
It could be anything, couldn't it? Sort of like, I'm not good enough, or I don't have time. There could be 1,001 reasons why we don't do these things.
Fear of what other people are going to think, fear of judgment.
Absolutely. All we're going to, we have to go to the fear and say, do one. Sort of, it's not going to hold me back anymore.
I love it. Go to the fear, do one.
Yeah.
That's the Londoner coming out in you.
Yeah, it does stop us doing a lot of things, actually. It really does.
It does. And it is an illusion. you know, we hear about it all the time. False evidence appearing real. You know, it's just an illusion.
Absolutely.
So there you go. The message of God is hand that fear over to God and the angels, because they want you to achieve your dreams. So let me see some of the comments here. Let's see. So Sylvia has said here, what a fab card, just perfect. And yeah, so I'm just struggling to see some of the comments here. I can only see the last one. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today, Jenny. And obviously Jenny's got this course coming up, and I think you're going to be hearing a lot more from Jenny in the future. I've said to Jenny before, I have this vision of, you know, her walking the red carpet one day when her movie becomes this Hollywood blockbuster, or, you know, this big play in the West End, and then I'm going to have you back on the show, and there's going to be much bigger audience of people watching, and
Absolutely.
I'll be kind of struggling to find time in your diary for you to fit me in.
I'll always have time for you, Mel.
Bless you. So if anyone's got any questions at all, please do put them in the comments, and then Jenny and I can pop in later. We can answer them. And we'll also post up the links to where you can find Jenny, you know, get hold of her books, her cards, and this writer's course that you've got coming up. So what, can you just remind us what the course is called again?
It's called Right to Release Through Angelic Guidance. And my intention is about the 10th of January that it'll be ready, but it may be before then.
Wonderful. So yeah, perfect thing to hop on if you are looking to kind of for some help in, you know, releasing that, you know, the writing blocks that maybe, you know, I can't get that sentence out at all. You know what I mean? Help with writing.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much, Jenny, and I'm really excited as to what the future holds for you. Super excited, and I hope you've been inspired, those of you viewers watching today, by today's show. Thank you, and I'll see you on next episode of Big Vision TV.
Thank you.